Okay, so this seems like such a simple, basic lesson relating addition and subtraction. You might even say this was like in the first grade, second grade level, but it's so foundational and so fundamental and so helpful to break this down. Like I've taught this lesson to ninth graders. So we're going to be focusing on two things. The first thing is just like how to quickly subtract by pressing and counting on. So students want to count backwards on their fingers for something like 9 minus 8. They want to count back 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They tend to do that incorrectly, or a lot of kids do. And so we teach them that they could also count up 8, 9, and on their fingers, like when they put up their finger while they're counting, there's their hand, they press the 8, count up 9, they get the leftover bit. So we're going to teach them a new way to count up because that's usually easier for them. If kids are still going to count back on their fingers, that's fine, but this is one strategy. And then the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to teach them about model drawing. And one way I used to think of it is as like the fact that there are so many different kinds of subtraction word problems. Like there's takeaway, there's comparison, there's missing add-in. There's so many different ways we can ask. But I think it's easier, instead of categorizing certain problems as addition and certain problems as subtraction, since it's kind of a false model, to just talk about like, let's draw pictures, and what we're going to see is that you could add or subtract for a lot of these. And there's no one right way. We just need to do what makes sense. So you're doing both those things. This part is pretty short and fast. And then this part is going to be longer, partly because this is just like really quick review. But you're going to be doing press and counting on when you teach your subtraction chant. And so it is important that you review that. And you're going to want to do model drawing for every word problem for the rest of the year. And so it's important to introduce that. By the way, if it feels like we're going slow, we are, but it's okay. Like you need some of this like foundational shared meaning. So how are subtraction and addition related? Let them tell you, and specifically do a compare and contrast that is drawing out the the inverseness of them, right? So if a kid says this is putting together, right, then being like, and subtraction is taking apart, right? And this is a we do. I've written this down at the bottom for you so that you can start to really differentiate between when the kids are talking and when you're talking, because I think there are some lines there that we need to see, like bright lines of, okay, like watch me just for a minute, So anyway, putting together, taking apart. In addition, our answer gets bigger, some kid might say. And in subtraction, our answer gets smaller. You could even talk about like, how do you add something like 4 plus 3 if you don't know the answer? And here, talk about pressing and counting on. So we would do, here's our fist, right? We would press it, 4, and then our fingers would pop up, right? 5, 6, 7. And that's how we're getting our answer. And here you might have kids talking about counting back. So if I'm counting back, I'm pressing the 7, 6, 5, 4. And you say, today I'm actually going to teach you another way, because sometimes we get a little confused counting back. We lose track of our fingers, and I want us to make sure that we can do it really quickly. So we can count back to subtract, but we can also count up as long as we count up from what we're taking away. So like here we're taking away the 7. Here we're taking away the 7. I can count up from there, and I'll show you why. Here are 9 things. And let's say I'm getting rid of 7 smileys. There's 7 gone, right? What's left? 8 and 9. So if I count up from 7 and press 7, 8, 9, my fingers pop up for each one. 8, 9, right? I can, oh God, guys, sorry, my phone is acting crazy. I can see 7 and 2 more make 9. 9, take away these 7, leaves 2. And this is where you have to say the chant. The way you're going to hear me talk about this is it's going to be, I have 9 and they want 7. Do I have enough? Yes. Press the bottom number, 7, 8, 9. So make a big note that here is where you're going to start to introduce a chant that is going to help kids with multi-digit subtraction. You're going to just practice that. Let's press this. It's 8 minus 5. Press the bottom number, 5. Or I have 8 and they want 5. Do I have enough? Yes. Press the bottom number, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 5 and 3 made 8, right? 8 minus 5 is 3. That's what was on my fingers as the leftover after I take away 5. And if you need to, right, you can draw it again like this. And say, right, I got rid of 5. What was left? 6, 7, 8. Okay, so you're just going to practice that. 2 of this lesson, after you practice that for a little bit, will be to move on to word problems. And the way you want to transition is this. You want to say, because addition and subtraction are related, right? We just saw that. There's lots of different story problems that could be solved with addition or subtraction. Like now we've said, right, if I'm doing 6 minus 5, then I can also think of that as 1 plus 5 is 6. That means in a story, I could do either of those two. And so there's no such thing as an addition or a subtraction word problem. Like I've had kids ask me, like, is this addition or subtraction? The answer is both. And that makes it a little bit tricky, right? We're going to use different ways to solve. And so when we do the problem, we're going to have to really be thinking about, am I looking for a bigger number or a smaller number? Am I looking for a whole amount or a part of a whole amount? And that's going to help me. And the way to do that is either to use cubes or to draw a model. So what I want you to do then is to let the cubes use cubes. Give everybody 30 cubes, okay? 30 cubes in a baggie, or 30 pieces of paper in a baggie, or 30 counters in a baggie. And let them use their cubes to solve this problem. Because I think that can be really interesting. What they do with their cubes, you might think of it as addition or you might think of it as subtraction. Like, Lisa had $12 in her pocket. They might lay out 12. They may or may not use a tens rod. Here are 12. Her brother gave her some. What they might do is just add on, right? Till they get 18. In that case, they're thinking of it as 12 plus what makes 18, right? I could also think of it as, okay, Lisa had 12, her brother gave her some money, now she has 18. Let me put the 12 here, side by side with 18. There we go. And let me see. Sorry, pretend that was a straight line. There. Wow, this must be how much? That's like 18 minus 12, right? Or maybe I think of it as working backwards. Like, okay, she has 18. Here's my 18. Let me take away 12 and see what her brother must have given her. Oh, 6 are left. Her brother must have given her 6. I think it was subtraction. So there's a lot of different ways. Let kids use their cubes to solve. Don't let them write anything down. Have them show you on their cubes where they got that answer. And then bring it back together as a group and discuss like 1 or 2 different strategies. Hopefully 1 addition strategy and 1 subtraction. And to be like, you see, even in this problem, it's not obvious that it's plus or minus, right? Like, her brother gave her some money, but we don't know what he gave her, so we can't just add, and we're definitely not going to add 12 and 18, right?
I can think of it as like 12 and what makes 18? Let me subtract. 18 minus 12 is 6. So there's so many ways to solve it. What we're going to do is we're going to draw a model to solve from now on. Like, we're not always going to have cubes. We're going to draw a model, right? So Lisa had $12 in her pocket. I might draw Lisa, right, and call it 12. Like, then her brother gave her some money. Now she has 18. Maybe what I draw is her brother gave her some money. Okay, so here's her brother giving her some money. We don't know how much, though, so let me put a question mark. But now she has 18. Okay, here we go. Now she has 18. That's kind of like what our friends did back here with the first set of cubes when they added on until they got to 18, right? So maybe I'm thinking of this as 12 plus what makes 18. Or maybe when I see this picture, I look and I'm like, oh, let me subtract 12 and then I'll get what's left. 18 minus 12. Right? Both of these are correct. Or maybe I draw it, Lisa has 12. This is what Lisa had to start. So this is Lisa at the start. And this is Lisa at the end. Ooh, sorry guys. I'm drawing with my finger. I want to find this part. So I'm cutting off the 12. 18. Cut off the 12, and I'll figure out that this is 6. Sorry, that should have been a question mark. Right? So there's all kinds of ways, but what we're going to do is we're going to draw a picture to show what we're thinking of. And once we have the picture,
it's 2 o'clock.
We get an idea of what equation to write, right? And then teachers, you're just going to keep going, letting them first draw the picture, talk about it, write the equation. I hope you're seeing here there are lots of right pictures to draw. There's no one right way, and there's lots of different equations. So don't get too bogged down on the right way. Really get bogged down on the thinking and explaining, right? And let them work together and draw pictures that make sense. And then their IP, this is just a launch in the IP, is going to be story problems with a little bit of this kind of practice, but mostly the story problems.